The Forgotten Books of Eden. We're going to continue on with chapter 11 through to 20. And the story is going over Adam and Eve when they had first gotten kicked out of the garden and when they first arrived on earth and all that they had gone through in the cave of treasures. So here we go, chapter 11. A collection of the glorious days in the garden. Then Adam and Eve felt themselves burning with thirst and heat and sorrow. And Adam said to Eve, "We shall not drink of this water, even if we were to die. O Eve, when this water comes into our inner parts, it will increase our punishments and that of our descendants." Both Adam and Eve then went away from the water and drank none of it at all, but came and entered the cave of treasures. But in it Adam could not see Eve. He only heard the noise she made. Neither could she see Adam, but heard the noises he made. Then Adam cried in deep afflictions and beat his chest, and he got up and said to Eve, "Where are you?" And she said to him, "Look, I am standing in this darkness." He then said to her, "Remember the bright nature in which we lived when we lived in the garden? O Eve, remember the glory that rested on us in the garden. O Eve, remember the trees that overshadowed us in the garden while we moved among them. O Eve, remember that while we were in the garden we knew neither night nor day. Think of the tree of life from below which flowed the water, and that shed lust over us. Remember, O Eve, the garden land and the brightness thereof. Think of that garden in which was no darkness, while we lived it. Whereas no sooner did we come into this cave of treasures than darkness surrounded us all around until we can no longer see each other, and all the pleasure of this life have come to an end." Chapter 12. How darkness came between Adam and Eve. Then Adam beat his chest, and he and Eve, and they mourned the whole night until the crack of dawn, and they sighed over the length of night in Mizziah. And Adam beat himself and threw himself on the ground in the cave from bitter grief and because of the darkness, and lay there as dead. But Eve heard the noise he made in falling on the ground, and she felt about for him with her hands, and found him like a corpse. Then she was afraid, speechless, and remained by him. But the merciful Yahuwah looked on the death of Adam and on Eve's silence from fear of the darkness. And the word of El Elohi came to Adam and raised him from the dead, and opened Eve's mouth that she might speak. Then Adam stood up in the cave and said, "O Elohi Ahia, why has light departed from us, and darkness covered us? Why did you leave us in this long darkness? Why do you plague us like this? And this darkness, O Elohi Ahia, where was it before it covered us? It is because of this that we cannot see each other. For so long as we were in the garden, we neither saw nor even knew what darkness is. I was not hidden from Eve, neither was she hidden from me, until now that she cannot see me, and no darkness came over us to separate us from each other, but she and I were both in one bright light. I saw her, and she saw me. Yet now, since we came into this cave, darkness has covered us and separated us from each other, so that I do not see her, and she does not see me. O Elohi Yahuwah, will you then plague us with this darkness?" Chapter 13. The fall of Adam, why night and day were created. Then when El Elohi Ahia, who is merciful and full of pity, heard Adam's voice, he said then, "O Adam, so long as the good angel was obedient to me, a bright light rested on him and on his host. But when he transgressed my commandment, I deprived him of the bright nature, and he became dark. And when he was in the heavens, in the realms of light, he knew nothing of darkness, but he transgressed it. I made him fall from the heaven unto earth, and it was this darkness that came over him. And on you, O Adam, while in my garden and obedient to me, did that bright light rest also? But when I heard of your transgressions, I deprived you of that bright light, yet of my mercy I did not turn you into darkness, but I made you your body of flesh, over which I spread the skin in order that it may bear cold and heat. If I had let my wrath fall heavily on you, I should have destroyed you, and I had turned you into darkness. It would have been as if I had killed you. But in my mercy I have made you as you are when you transgressed my commandment, O Adam. I drove you from the garden and made you come forth into this land, and commanded you to live in this cave, and darkness covered you as it did over him who transgressed my commandment. Thus, O Adam, has this night deceived you? It is not to last forever, but it's only of 12 hours. When it is over, daylight will return. Sigh not, therefore, neither move, and say not in your heart that this darkness is long, and drag on wearily, and say not in your heart that I plagued you with it. Strengthen your heart, and be not afraid. This darkness is not a punishment, but, O Adam, I have made the day, and have placed the sun in it to give a light, in order that you and your children should do your work. For I knew you would sin and transgress and come out into this land. Yet I would force you, nor be heard over you, nor shut up, nor doom your thought, although your fall, nor through your coming out from light into darkness, nor yet through your coming from the garden into this land. For I made you of the light, and I will to bring out children of light from you, and like to you. But you did not keep my commandment one day until I had finished the creation and blessed everything in it. Then concerning the tree, I commanded you not to eat of it. Yet I knew that Satan, who deceived himself, would also deceive you. So I made known to you by means of the tree not to come near him. And I told you not to eat of the fruit thereof, nor to taste of it, nor yet to sit under it, nor to yield to it. Had I not been and spoken to you, O Adam, concerning the tree, and I left you without a commandment, and you had sinned, it would have been an offense on my part for not having given you an order. You would turn around and blame me for it. But I commanded you and warned you, and you failed, so that my creatures could not blame me, but the blame rests on them also. And, O Adam, I have made the day so that you and your descendants can work and toil in it, and I have made the night for them to rest in it from their work, and for the beasts of the field to go forth by night and look for their food. But the little of darkness now remains, O Adam, and daylight will soon appear. Chapter 14. The earliest prophecy of the coming Messiah. Then Adam said to Elohi Ahia, Take you, my soul, and let me not see this gloom any more, or remove me to some place where there is no darkness. But Elohi Ahia said to Adam, Indeed I say to you, this darkness will pass from you every day I have determined for you, until the fulfillment of my covenant, when I will save you and bring you back again into the garden, into the house of light you long for, in which there is no darkness. I will bring you into it. In the kingdom of heaven, again said Elohi Ahia to Adam, all the misery that you have been made to take on yourself because of your transgressions will not free you from the hand of Satan, and will not save you, but I will. When I shall come down from heaven, and shall become flesh on your descendants, and take on myself the infirmity from which you suffer, then the darkness that cover you in this cave shall cover me in the grave, when I am in the flesh of your descendants. And I, who am without years, shall be subject to the reckoning of years, of time, of months, and of days, and I shall be reckoned as one of the sons of men, in order to save you. And then Elohi Ahia ceased to commune with Adam. So we see in chapter 14, Yahuwah stated that he was going to come down as man, as the Messiah, Yeshua, to save us. So, there we have it. Chapter 15. Adam and Eve grieve over the suffering of Elohi Yahuwah to save them from their sins. Then Adam and Eve cried and sorrowed by reason of Elohi Ahia's word to them, that they should not return to the garden until the fulfillment of the days decreed on them, but mostly because Elohi Ahia told them that he should suffer for their salvation. Chapter 16. The first sunrise, Adam and Eve think it is a fire coming to burn them. After this, Adam and Eve continued to stand in the cave praying and crying until the morning of dawn on them. And when they saw the light return to them, they refrained from fear and strengthened their hearts. Then Adam began to come out of the cave, and when he came to the mouth of it, and stood and turned his face towards the east, and saw the sun rise in glowing rays, and felt the heat thereof on his body, he was afraid of it, and thought his heart that his flame came forth to plague him. He then cried and beat his chest. Then he fell on the ground on his face and made his request, saying, O Elohim, plague me not, neither consume me, nor take away my life from the earth. For he thought the sun was Elohim, Yahuwah. Because while he was in the garden and heard the voice of Elohim and the sound he made in the garden and feared him, Adam never saw the brilliant light of the sun, neither did its flaming heat touch his body. Therefore he was afraid of the sun when flaming rays of it reached him. He thought Elohim meant to plague him therewith all the days he had decreed for him. For Adam also said in his thoughts, as Elohim did not plague us with darkness, behold, he has caused this sun to rise and to plague us with burning heat. But while he was thinking like this in his heart, the word Yeshaya Elohim came to him and said, O Adam, get up on your feet. This sun is not Elohim, but it has been created to give light by day, of which I spoke to you in the cave, saying that the dawn would come and there would be light by day. But I am Elohim who comfort you in the night, and Elohim ceased to commune with Adam. Chapter 17, the chapter of the serpent. Adam and Eve came out at the mouth of the cave and went toward the garden. But as they went near it, before the western gate from which Satan came, when he deceived Adam and Eve, they found the serpent that became Satan coming at the gate, and sorrowfully licking the dust and wiggling on its breast on the ground, by reason of the curse that fell on him from Elohim. And whereas before the serpent was the most exalted of all beasts, now it was changed and become slippery and the meanest of them all, and it crept on its breast and went on its belly. And whereas it was the fairest of all beasts, it had been changed and was become the ugliest of them all. Instead of feeding on the best food, now it turned to eat the dust. Instead of living as before in the best places, now it lived in the dust. And whereas it had been the most beautiful of all beasts, all of which stood dumb as its beauty, it was now abhorred of them. And again, whereas it lived in one beautiful home to which all other animals came from elsewhere, and it were drank, they drank also of the same. Now after it had become venomous by reason of Elohim's curse, all beasts fled from its home, and would not drink of the water it drank, but fled from it. Chapter 18, the mortal combat with the serpent. When the accused serpent saw Adam and Eve, it swelled its head, stood on its tail, and with eyes blood red acted like it would kill them. It made straight for Eve and ran after her, while Adam, standing by, cried because he had no stick in his hand with which to hit the serpent, and did not know how to put it to death. But with a heart burning for Eve, Adam approached the serpent and held it by the tail when it turned toward him, and said to him, O Adam, because of you and of Eve I am slippery, and go on my belly. Then with his great strength it threw down Adam and Eve and squeezed them and tried to kill them. But Elohim sent an angel who threw the serpent away from them and raised them up. Then the word Ahiyashah of Elohim came to the serpent and said to it, the first time I made you slick and made you to go on your belly, but I did not deprive you of speech. This time, however, you will be mute, and you and your race will speak no more, because the first time my creatures were ruined because of you, and this time you tried to kill them. Then the serpent was struck mute and was no longer able to speak, and a wind blew down from heaven by the command of Elohim and carried away the serpent from Adam and Eve and threw it on the seashore where it landed in India. Wow. Chapter 19. beasts made subject to Adam. But Adam and Eve cried before El Elohim, and Adam said to him, O Yahuwah, when I was in the cave, I said this to you, my El Elohim, the beast of the field would rise and devour me and cut off my life from the earth. Then Adam, because of what had happened to him, beat his chest and fell on the ground like a corpse. Then the word Ahijah of El Elohim came to him, who raised him and said to him, O Adam, not one of these beasts will be able to hurt you, because I have made them the beast and over moving things come to you in the cave. I did not let the serpent come with them, because it might have risen against you and made you tremble, and the fear of it should fall into your heart. For I knew that the accursed one is wicked, therefore I would not let it come near you with the other beasts. But I now strengthen your heart, and fear not. I am with you to the end of the days, and I have determined on you. The last chapter for today, chapter 20. Adam wishes to protect Eve. Then Adam cried and said, O El Elohim, take us away to some other place where the serpent cannot come near us again and rise against us, for fear that it might find your handmaiden Eve alone and kill her, for its eyes are hideous and evil. But El Elohim said to Adam and Eve, from now on, don't be afraid. I will not let it come near you. I have driven it away from you, from this mountain, neither will I leave it in the ability to hurt you. Then Adam and Eve worshipped before El Elohim and gave him thanks and praised him for having delivered them let me repeat that. Then Adam and Eve worshipped El Elohim and gave him thanks and praised him for having delivered them from death. And we're going to stop there. We continue again tomorrow with 21 to 30, and we're going over the story of Adam and Eve against Satan in the garden once they got kicked out here on the land on earth.